Is that where the Terp getting shot and you providing cover fire? Is that where the Brown Star came from?
Yeah.
Yeah. Were there subsequent missions on that deployment that were as eventful as that one?
Yeah. So the main mission, that main operation to clear that ISIS valley was a big deal. So there was a mission before where they had the Rangers go in, and they decided they were gonna. And then we were a smaller valley next to them, and the Rangers like hoofed it over the mountain instead of driving and then clearing. So by the time they got into the start of the valley to start like pushing, and they started getting lit up, they're all dehydrated, they're heat catting, and they were already smoked. So they ended up getting exfilled, and then we got the main valley on the next mission.
Oh, okay.
And then that main valley that's where it's like 2 ODAs, all their commandos separate. We ended up losing a guy on our sister team. He was a sniper, and he went to go schwack a dude. And as he slid into like a good sniper position, it was booby trapped and he got blown up.
Oh, no shit.
So then we pushed to the end of that valley by ourselves because that team didn't, obviously they had to take care of their dude and they got caught up in their gunfights. So then we pushed to the end. We started running out of gas. We started running out of supplies. We weren't getting our refills. Everything just started to kind of go wrong. And then so we're knee deep in their valley, by ourselves. And when it was supposed to be 2 ODAs, 2 companies of commandos, and Rangers up in the top providing cover or mortar fire and stuff like that, indirect fire. And then the Rangers never showed up or got sent somewhere else or something. They weren't there. And then this team, our sister team, lost a guy. So then we're by ourselves. And then that's when, the plug got pulled to not finish the rest of the clear because we were just running on E. It would have been, and to be stuck in there without the vehicles would have been a bad day.
Yeah. Did you guys stay in that area and eventually clear that valley at some point in the deployment?
So the next, we ended up, because we were there for like 3 days, we finally left. We had pushed far enough to where we felt like we made a substantial impact to get the ANA to take over these strongholds. But then the next deployment, another team ended up going back there and they stayed there for like weeks. And then our JTAC on that deployment went in with them on the second one as well. And then he got rocked and he got, was it the Air Force? Was it Silver Star?
The Navy has a Silver Star.
What's their Air Force? I'm
not sure.
Air Force Cross.
Flying Cross, maybe. Flying
Cross?
Yeah.
So he got that and was on the front of Army Times and all that stuff because he got rocked. And then they lost an ODA guy and he just kept calling and they were about to get ambushed and overran. And he schwacked. I think he killed he called them like enough to kill like 150 enemy fighters.
God damn. Is the sniper that from your sister group that was lost, is that your memorial bracelet?
No, so this one is Miguel Golan. He was a classmate. Mihail Golan, sorry, he's Russian, but he was a classmate, and then we graduated the Q course together, and then he was my senior on the B team. So I've known him for years, and he deployed after I got out and went to the police department. His very next deployment, he got killed.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
So was that mission that you just described, was that towards the end of the deployment?
That one was like, yeah, that was probably closer to, and I think after that one, we only went on one more.
Anything of note on that one?
On the last one? No, those guys actually didn't go on that one. That was after we had that tiff on our team.
Yeah. And
then he was like, "You're staying on this one." And I was like, "Come on, dude." And he's like, "Well, someone's got to stay back, and it's you." I was like, "Okay." I took that personally, but
yeah.
Luckily that there was that was mild combat, so I didn't really miss out on anything. They took a couple rounds, and I think they got one dude and then came back. It wasn't a huge deal.
Yeah. Kind of looking at it from a 30,000-foot view, do you look at that deployment as a success operationally? Like, do you feel like you guys made an impact and did some good shit?
I do.
Did you guys ever have any dogs with you?
We did.
Can you describe any of those fucking stories?
So that
any good bites from the dogs?
So Khan was the main dog. That dude was a monster machine. We loved him. Khan, he chewed off his own tail. He was just he was a savage.
Yeah.
And his handler was also savage. He was just a longtime Green Beret. Just they were just two badasses. And so every time Khan was with us, like your confidence went through the roof, because this dog is like no joke, you know. Because I've seen non-SF like dogs, and I'm like, that's a pet.
Yeah.
And there's a difference when you have a pet and when you have a killing machine.
Oh, no shit.
And Khan was a fucking killing machine. I was afraid of him. So I didn't get to see. I know Khan did get bites. I know he got one kill where he took a dude's neck and just shredded it. But the thing about, and you know, as the dog guys, that's what I tell people is, if you want combat, you be a dog guy, because
they're always in the hot spot.
Always. So, you know, Khan and his handler come back from 3 days of
fucking shit up.
Yeah, and then it's like, hey, we need the dog.
Yeah.
And it's like our team gets to go rest and refit and figure out what the next mission is. He's on a bird to go meet up with another team who's going on mission the next day or that night.
Yeah.
So they're just all over wherever the hotspots are, they're taken. So I know Khan got some kills, but with us, he was just, you know, when he was there, it was awesome. But I didn't see him getting any like specific bites. I did get slapped in the dick for petting him though.
Yeah.
That was not fun. Yeah. So his handler was we're sitting out by the DFAC in I think we were in JBAD, and his handler was sitting to my right, and Khan comes up or was sitting down, but then he like put his head on my lap, and I was looking at him, I was like, can I pet him? And he kind of looked at it and he's like, yeah, a little bit. Usually you don't touch Khan, you know? And so I was like, so I pet him, and then Khan started like loving it, and he started loving it like to the point where he was like kind of getting out of character, you know, of his aggressive self. And so he said, enough. And Khan didn't stop the minute he said enough, and his hand came over and he went to whop Khan to get his attention. He missed and he hit me right in the dick.
So you literally got dick slapped. Yeah. I thought it was a fucking figure of speech. Goddamn.
No, he missed Khan and smacked me right in my cock and balls. I was like, never touching that dog again.
Oh, goddamn.
But awesome. We loved working with them. It was badass because, like, you know, you do that breach and they say, hey, pretend like the dog's not here, and you're clearing rooms and it's like a fucking and he's all over the place. It's awesome, man.
Yeah. Were there instances where Khan was with you and he indicated on explosive IEDs or caches or anything?
I'm sure there was with other groups, because the valleys were so big, we were splintered up a lot.
Yeah.
So for us, we didn't have Khan a lot.
Yeah.
And
was that the only dog that you typically had?
Yeah, there was like two that were rotating the most, but we tried to get Khan as much as possible just because of his experience.
Yeah.
But I remember our EOD guy was finding bombs constantly. So we tried to take him, and then Khan would go with the main element. Yeah.
Do you guys typically run with Air Force CCT guys, or do you do your own shit?
No, we definitely, the CCTs. That's what I meant. Sorry, not JTAC. The CCT is the one that won the awards. But yeah, we absolutely, they're primary. And then we'll typically have one dude as that's been to the school. Yeah. That'll be, as a backup. Yeah. So he's running his two radios in case the CCT goes down. He could communicate with the aircraft.
I gotcha. Yeah, those guys, we had one with us in Iraq. It was a fucking lifesaver, but literally, I mean.
Dude, they don't sleep.
Yeah, I know it.
It's just all night long talking to those birds. It's nuts.
Yeah. No, I know it. All right, so as that deployment wraps up, what was it like coming back?
So during that deployment, I was like, you know what? I was like, I'm gonna go do something else. Like I had felt fulfilled. Initially, I was going to stay SF for the rest of my career. I was like, this is it. I'm happy. This is what I want to do forever. But then, you know, we had some bad experiences on the team on that deployment, and I decided, I was like, you know, I don't like the feeling that this is giving me anymore. And maybe it's a childhood thing. I don't know. But when I'm not happy, like, I'm going to go find some happiness. So that's something I just don't stand for. So I was like, all right, well, you know, I don't like the vibe that this is putting off, so I'm gonna go do something else. So on deployment, I finished my bachelor's degree, and then I started applying for like FBI, CIA, police departments, and decided to move on.
What shook out from those options?
Denver Police Department.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So my first choice was the Secret Service. They started a new pilot program for prior SF. They can go straight to their counter assault team. And one of the agents contacted me. He's like, "Hey man, you would be like one of the pilots in this program. Do you want to do it?" I was like, "Hell yeah, I want to do it." So I went to Texas, and there were some cool dudes on that counter assault team. They're like, "Where's Shawn at?" And I was in a group of like 100 people applying to be Secret Service. He's like, "Where's Shawn at?" I was like, "Right here." He's like, "Come on, dude." And it was like a total bro setup for me. And I was like, these dudes are cool. I like this. And then I went to do the polygraph in LA
and failed miserably.
She hated me. I walked out of there like, see you never.
God damn.
Yeah.
So that didn't pan out.
And then
what did you lie about? Or didn't you? You just failed it.
I didn't. And she told me flat out, she's like, "I can't get a read on you." I was like, "That's not my problem, it's your problem."
Yeah.
And she was like, and then, she just kept pushing, like, just tell me. And I'm like, you have the machine. You tell me.
Yeah.
If you think I'm lying about something, ask me.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like any one question. It was just like, you're lying about something. Tell me what it is. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm not playing this game with you. Like, I've been to SEER school. I know your little tactics, and because she tried to like bring my friends into it and people that have passed away and all these tactics. I'm like, this is the same shit in SEER school.
Yeah.
I was like, so yeah. I walked out of there knowing. I was like, well, that's a wrap on that one.
So from there, how did you go from there to Denver PD?
So there, I was doing all the hiring process at the same time. I was like, I need a job, and I'm not getting out without a job. So early, I started applying to everybody. I did the FBI test. I passed that test and moved on with them. But then the police department was the only one that was like consistent. Like, hey, you passed the polygraph. 2 weeks, you'll take this. 2 weeks from there, you'll take this. And it was just like, I always knew where I was in the process. The Secret Service, it was like 6 months before I even heard that I failed the polygraph.
Wow.
So I was like, well, based on your guys' hiring practices, this is going to pan out because this is like working so smoothly and everything. So I just went with that. And they had a full-time SWAT team. So that was a selling point for me.
Were you on it?
No.
Yeah.
So
I was going to say, because I have a dog that I sold that's on the fucking Denver Metro SWAT, but.
Oh yeah, there's some good dudes out there.
Yeah.
And I'd like to say that I was primed to get that spot. I did all the networking, and I was always hanging out with those guys and, putting my name in the hat any way I could. But one thing that I didn't know about police SWAT teams is it takes years. Yeah. Like those guys don't have rotations off the team. They don't get off the team.
Yeah, and you don't just walk right on either.
No.
So you ended up joining the Denver PD for a period.
Yep. I got on a.
What was that like?
I got on a small. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No.
I got on a small team, which was cool for me. I was like happy to be back on a team. I just busted my butt when I was there. I was like constantly trying to get arrests. I was that guy, super, motivated and thought the job was great. Finding drugs and finding illegal guns as much as I could. And then I got a spot on a citywide impact team, and I was super stoked on that. They were like. It was a new team. So instead of being assigned to a district, you get to go all over the city, which I was like, that's amazing because some districts have the best crime. Like that's where all the crime's at. And I was in a district that didn't have the highest crime rate.
So was that the district within Denver or was it a suburb? Like were you part of Denver PD?
Yes.
Proper?
Yes.
Okay.
But in Denver, they break it up into 6 districts.
Okay.
Like District 6 is downtown, so those guys get used to being downtown. Like from District 1, which is the northwest side of Denver, if I had to go downtown, like because there were some active shooters or something, so it's everyone on deck, I'm lost.
Yeah.
So they had to break it up so you would actually learn, your street rotations and where you're at.
Yeah. So what was that experience like overall, going from being a Green Beret overseas to being a cop? Because I view that as kind of a tricky or tough road to hoe in some ways, and that from a rules of engagement standpoint, it's quite different. In terms of it's a lot more negotiations and customer service oriented as a cop. not just default to fucking somebody up.
Right.
Did you struggle with that at all?
100%.
Yeah.
And that was, and it's exactly what you said. Like, we resort to violence, or, or people know that that's what we're about. So it's like, if you don't want violence, then stay away from me, or us, not like each one of us is flying off the handle, but that's how we operate. So when I was a cop and people, I was a new cop and people come up and be like, what are you doing? Like,
fuck you. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah. None of your fucking business. I'm doing my job. Like, who are you?
Yeah.
And that tripped me out. Cause I can't believe that cops just have random people come up. And my training officer was like, dude, you can't tell them to go fuck themselves. I'm like, well, why not? Like, it's none of their damn business. And he's like, dude, it's customer service now. And I was like, this sucks. But my thing was, I held off for the small team experience. I was like, once I get there, it'll be better. And it was better. The one thing on the other hand, that surprised me about the police department is, dude, that they're getting in gunfights like on the regular. And that shocked me, because I'm like, I'm coming from special forces. I've been in some gunfights. Like, that'll probably be a thing of the past. And I was like, oh, hell no. I got to Denver and was like, my district alone had like 5 shootings in a couple months. And I was like, man, these guys are shooting. Like, one of my classmates, I think 2 of my classmates have been shot. A rookie, but he's not a rookie anymore, but dude behind me, he got shot in the guts and almost died with a rifle in a basement. Like they're getting to some no shit. My buddy just got stabbed a couple weeks ago in his lung. I think maybe it didn't hit his lung. He got a good stabbing though. I think it was armpit. A girl just came up and he was arresting her boyfriend. He came up and she just started shanking him. And, so it's like, I think that was shocking for me, is like how much these city cops are really getting into some shit.
Yeah. You're not still there, are you? Or
No, no.
What was the process with which you decided to leave there?
The riots.
Oh,
yeah, with the George Floyd riots. So, I got on this team and I was like, man, this is what I wanted to do. We're going after gangsters, and and I love that. I love that cat and mouse game with gangsters, because it's like, it's fun, right? They know you're a cop and you got your job to do and they got their job to do. So you guys just play this back and forth, trying to get their guns and they're trying to hide them. And so I was having a good time with that. I really enjoyed, working a lot with the gangsters and stuff and trying to get them. But then George Floyd happened and we all came to the office the next day and they were like, did you see what happened? And we're like, no. And they pulled up the video of George Floyd. I was like, fuck. We knew instantly that it was going to get bad for us. And that's what started to shift my mindset. I'm like, here I am doing everything that I can to do right. I haven't had one complaint in like 3 years. One complaint. I treat people with respect. I do my absolute damnedest out here every day. And now, because this dude did something that was dumb, I'm going to feel the effects on it. My team's going to feel the effects on it. We're going to get treated like shit. I was like, that's not sitting right. I was like, but whatever, it's part of the job, so we'll do it. So we go in the riots, and it's game on. Like, they're trying to overrun the police districts. They're throwing Molotov cocktails at us. They're throwing rocks at us. I'm watching cops just drop left and right because they're taking boulders to the ankles. I'm like, one of those hits me in the face, I'm dead. And then the mob, they get so unruly and they feed off each other like animals. So I'm like, if I fall and one of them starts kicking me, I'm going to get stomped out. I'm going to get stomped to death, because you'll find yourself surrounded with 3 cops and you're surrounded by an angry mob and rocks are flying in from every which way. And then, cops are getting hit on the RDVs, the rapid deployment vehicles. You just stand on the ledge so we can get there and jump right off and jump back on. And all of a sudden we're getting radio messages that the people are targeting us with their vehicles, and they just hit 2 cops and they're going to the hospital. And then the SWAT team was clearing one of the streets, in the SWAT were the only ones, and this is something that's dumb about the department, is I understand they're trying to mitigate risk, but only certain people are allowed to use like gas. So the SWAT teams are the only ones that could use the gas, and that's the shit that is really what works. You shoot someone with a pepper ball, they're like cough, they wipe it, and then they're right back throwing stuff at you. But the CS at least clears them out, gives you some space. So SWAT's trying to move a crowd back, and all of a sudden I hear screeching, and then boom, a SUV slams into a car to open up an entrance and starts heading for the whole group of SWAT guys who are facing that way. So I turn back and I look at them. I'm going to kill him because he's about to mow down 6 dudes. I can't see their faces, but I'm sure some of them are friends of mine. I was like, it ain't going to happen. So I pulled my gun out and he's headed right towards me. And I was like, and technically our policy is that if somebody's headed at you in a vehicle, you don't shoot them, you just move. But to me, I was like, I'm not letting those dudes get hit. So I was about to shoot him in the face. And then he looked at me, he looked at my gun and then skirt back onto the street from the sidewalk and then took off until the car broke down because it was all torn up and flat tires. But it was that for like 15-hour days, day in and day out. Like we didn't get a day off for, 9 days of just, hey, come back, go home, sleep, come back, suit up and get your ass back down to the riots. Because the marchers will take the day. And as soon as the sun goes down, all the writers come out and it's game on.
Yeah. So you did that for the better part of 2 weeks, and then was it at that point you said, "Fuck this"?
No. So I was pretty comfortable in that environment. I felt fine, and then I was like, "This is what SF trains to do. You go in, you get some hairy stuff, and you deal with it. And whatever you got to do, you do it." And I was like, "This is cool. I don't mind it. I'm shooting with pepper balls. Like what? They're fine." And it wasn't until after that one of my teammates had shot a pepper ball. He's on the side of the truck and it's moving. And he looks up and you could see rocks coming in. He looks up and shoots with one hand a pepper ball. The air was running out, so it comes low and hits this dude's phone out of his hand. And so the video looks terrible because it's like pepper ball smack and then the phone goes flying. When in reality, he was fine. He said, "Oh, yeah, I got glass in my eye or something." So what bothered me was the chief then was like, saw the video on the news and then told the news that that he wants to open an investigation on my teammate without talking to my leadership, without talking to my lieutenant, my sergeant, asking my teammate what happened. "Hey, did you do that on purpose? Like what happened that day? Tell me about it." Nothing. He just goes out and says, "Oh, we're opening a full out investigation." And there was so now my teammate's stressed every single day because he knows like there's a lawsuit, he's on a federal lawsuit and the department's not having his back. The chief doesn't have his back. And that's when I was like, you don't support your cops? You're going to tell us to go do whatever we got to do to protect the city. And then once we do it, you're not going to have our backs? Like, nope. Yeah. I'm not playing that game. Yeah. I'm not going to jail for a job. Yeah. Like, I don't care how good the pay is. I'm not going to jail for it.
Yeah. Were there a lot of other cops that did the same thing as you? Or?
Oh yeah, yeah. A lot of people were in the drop. So once you go in the drop, you could retire within 5 years whenever you want. So a lot of guys will go in the drop. So but they'll stay to keep that retirement going up. The percentages. A ton of cops that were in the drop were like, "Nope, I'm out." And then cops started resigning. They started looking for other jobs. I know like my whole team was like, "Where could we work?" Like that's what morning conversation would be like. Is the fire department hiring? Like what, is there any, what other jobs can we do? And that was normal talk within the police department after the riots started to cool down and we saw how the department was treating us. Yeah. It was the normal talk was like, what are we going to do? Like, how do we get out of this job?
Ballpark, what the percentage of the force was lost in that couple of month period?
I don't know the percentages, but I remember them talking like they were like, "Oh, we lost like 400 or something like that." Like the number was really, really substantial.
Yeah. What is your take on the riots and I guess more importantly from a cop's perspective, having done everything that you've done and even as a kid mixed it up with cops and just kind of your life experience, where does your perspective fall in terms of the actual cops that arrested George Floyd and the way that they handled that? What is your take on it?
Okay, so the rookies are rookies. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. And I would like to say that, rookies will watch a senior cop and be like, "Dude, stop." But that's not the environment that you're in. Like if that's a senior cop, you shut your mouth and you learn. Like they're so confused and lost as to what's happening. They're not even making sense of like the what's taking place. They literally have no idea what's going on. Being a rookie cop is so overwhelmingly confusing. You don't even 99% of your job is trying to figure out where the hell you are. Yeah. Let alone if a decision or an act is right or wrong. Like you're just completely lost. So those guys, the rookies, anyway, the main cop, I think he was an asshole. I don't think he was racist, right? And here's the thing. And then, so I just finished my master's, and one of the last things I wrote about was, because they wanted you to pick something in an organization that needs fixing, and it's like, to me, what I wrote the paper about was that police officers are struggling with PTSD, and they're struggling with burnout, and they have all kinds of issues that are untreated, and they're disconnecting from humanity to protect themselves and to deal with their mental illnesses that they've undoubtedly. You can't be a cop in a big city and not have these issues, right? But as far as that cop, I think he was being an asshole. I think his ego got the best of him, and people started telling him to stop. And so he's like, screw you, don't tell me what to do. And on top of that, he's within policy. They were allowed to put their knee on their neck. Does that make it right? Hell no. Obviously, you did it too long. Like, once you have him pinned, cuff him up and sit him up. But he's being a dick. He's probably suffering from a shit ton of burnout. He is miserable from dealing with the same kind of people I think he did for he was like 17-year vet, right?
I'm not sure. But.
So that's kind of my perspective, is I think there's a bigger issue, and that it's not racism. We do have an issue. We do. And that needs to be corrected. And that's, cops need to get the help that they deserve dealing with their PTSD. They need to get help with dealing with burnout, and to deal with their disconnecting from, their emotions, because they want to protect themselves from what they're dealing with on a regular basis.
Yeah.
We need to have rotations, almost like a team room. Police officers should not be on the streets that long dealing with this stuff over and over. They should be rotated out. So I do think there's a lot of issues. I think we're mislabeling the root cause as racism.
Yeah. What was the time frame from when you said, all right, fuck this, to when you were no longer a cop?
Months.
Yeah.
Once I made that decision, my wife was cool with it, and I was like, hey, I'm gonna move on to do something else. And she's like, what are you gonna do? I was like, I don't know. I'm gonna
go back to the tanning salon.
Yeah, I'm gonna go write a book and start a YouTube channel, and give me some time. That's what I asked her for, because we're very frugal people. We don't spend a lot of money. We don't have debt and things like that. So it was like, financially, we have time. Yeah. We could afford time. So I was just like, give me some time to figure out something that will make me happy. I was like, because I want to be in a spot that I enjoy what I do every day.
Yeah.
And she was like, okay. And I started the YouTube channel, and I wrote the book, and money started coming in. I didn't think about money, but it started coming in, and now this is what I do. I guess I'm a YouTuber. It sounds so stupid.
I'm a YouTuber. No, I think it's cool, because I mean, you've when I look at your life's trajectory, there's a recurring theme of early on, obviously, overcoming childhood trauma and circumstances that are detrimentally impactful on kids, on any human beings going through that, but especially in your formative years, brain development wise. But that it doesn't stop there, is that you continue to live your life in a manner with which your goals typically drive everything else, which I think is a very successful and important way for most people to live. The goal and then plan. I've done the same thing, really my entire life also. And I think when I look at the parallels between a lot of the most successful people that I know and everybody else, the most successful people I know all kind of have that. They've got the big picture of what they want to do, and then they figure out a way to make it happen. Whereas I think a lot of people, and this is not a knock on anybody that doesn't live that way, but I think most people live by the mantra of safe first. Like, I need something that's going to give me a standard of living and a way of life, and let me pay my bills and all that other stuff, and then maybe on a rainy day I'll take a pipe dream shot at something, and that never fucking works.
Yeah.
You kind of have to burn your boats, so to speak, at the shoreline, and say, this is what I want. Now, how the fuck am I going to get there?
Yeah.
And I admire that about every step of the process that you've lived your life.